Good morning, everyone. This is Joanne Nicole Robles, and today we're going to talk about education. Education is the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. Educational methods include teaching, training, storytelling, discussion, and directed research. Methodology of teaching is called pedagogy, taken as an academic discipline is the study of how knowledge and skills are imparted in an educational context. Formal education is commonly divided formally into such stages as preschool or kindergarten, primary school, secondary school, and then college, university, or apprenticeship. Early childhood. Preschools provide education from ages approximately 3 to 7, depending on the country when children enter primary education. Kindergarten provides a child-centered preschool curriculum for 3 to 7-year-old children that aims at unfolding the child's physical, intellectual, and moral nature. Primary or elementary education consists of the first 4 to 7 years of formal structured education. They are typically designed to provide young children with functional literacy and numeracy skills. Secondary, the purpose of secondary education can be or to give common knowledge to prepare for higher education or to train directly in a profession. Lower secondary education are usually organized around a more subject-oriented curriculum. Upper, they lead to skills relevant to employment and the skill necessary to engage in tertiary courses. Tertiary, colleges and universities mainly provide tertiary education. Tertiary education generally receive certificates, diplomas, or academic degrees. Vocational focus on direct and practical training for a specific trade or craft. Vocational education may come in the form of an apprenticeship or internship. Special education was only provided to people with severe disabilities, but more recently it has been open to anyone who has experienced difficulty in learning. Alternative education. Many educational alternatives emphasize small class sizes, close relationship between students and teachers, and a sense of community. Such alternative learning environments may be found within state, charter, and independent schools as well as home-based learning environments. Indigenous education refers to the inclusion of indigenous knowledge models, methods, and content within formal and non-formal educational system. A key factor for successful indigenous education practices is the student-teacher relationship. Public schooling. The education sector or education system is a group of institutions, ministries of education, local educational authorities, teacher training institutions, schools, universities, etc. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development has found that schools tend to perform best when principals have full authority and responsibility for ensuring that students are proficient in core subjects upon graduation. Luis Malaguzzi is responsible for developing one of the world's most popular educational approaches to date, and that is the Reggio Emilia approach to early childhood education. Malaguzzi believed that all children are resourceful and intelligent. Informal learning occurs in a variety of places such as at home, work, and through daily interactions and shared relationships among members of society. Informal learning, there is often a reference person, a peer, or expert to guide the learner. Self-directed learning. Autodidacticism is a self-directed learning. Some suggest teachers should not pick up research findings and implement them directly into the classroom. Instead, they must advocate for a modified approach. Some call evidence-informed teaching, combine it with personal experience or judgments. Evidence-based learning education is the use of well-designed scientific studies to determine which education methods work best. It is the principle that education practices should be based on the best available scientific evidence rather than tradition, personal judgment, or other influences. Open learning electronic technology, many large university institutions are now starting to offer free or almost free full courses such as Harvard, MIT, and Berkeley teaming up to form edX. Is education without academic admission requirements and is typically offered online. Theory. Educational psychology is the study of how humans learn in educational settings, the effectiveness of educational interventions, the psychology of teaching, and the social psychology of schools as organizations. Is concerned with the processes of educational attainment in the general population and in subpopulations, such as gifted children and those with specific disabilities. Psychological relationship. Intelligence is an important factor in how the individual responds to education. Those who have higher intelligence tend to perform better at school and go on to higher levels of education. The children that were raised by their biological parents had a greater similarity in terms of intelligence and academic performances rather than those raised by foster parents. Learning modalities. There has been much interest in learning modalities and styles over the last 2 decades. The most commonly employed learning modalities: visual, learning based on observation and seeing what is being learned; auditory, learning based on listening to instructions and informations; kinesthetic, learning based on movement, hands-on work, and engaging in activities. Mind, brain, and education. Educational neuroscience is an emerging scientific field that brings together researchers in cognitive neuroscience, developmental cognitive neuroscience, educational psychology, educational technology, education theory, and other related disciplines to explore the interactions between biological processes and education. Researchers in educational neuroscience investigate the neural mechanism of reading, numerical cognition, attention, and their attendant difficulties, including dyslexia, dyscalculia, and ADHD as they relate to education. Philosophy. As an academic field, philosophy of education is the philosophical study of education, and its problem, its central subject matter is education, and its methods are those of philosophy. May be part of the discipline in the sense of being concerned with the aims of forms, methods, or results of the process of educating or being educated. Curriculum. In formal education, a curriculum is a set of courses and their content offered at a school or university. Curriculum stems from the Latin word for race course, referring to the course of deeds and experiences through which children grow to become mature adults.